I'm sorry about the delay. What can I say? The state fair was in town. It was pretty cool. I got some pictures. You should check it out on the Instagram. But hey, I've got some stuff to tell you. I've got a couple of crazy kind of things there. Maybe not super crazy, but they're crazy to me as a user of one of them. But let's get into this. I'm going to go ahead and say let's just lead this with probably the headliner to me, and that's the Stadia being completely axed by Google of all companies. Go figure, right? I mean, Google's probably got a history. I guess I can't say I'm totally shocked or anything. I don't think any of us can really say that there. Google has how many different products in their Killed by Google website? I mean, I think it's like 247 now that it's up to, of just stuff being axed, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't love it. Google just basically has this mentality of just like, they just throw spaghetti at the walls and literally just like, is this gonna work or not? If it's not, just chuck it, and chuck it. And yeah, it's not a strategy I'm a big fan of, but as you see here, and as we all kind of know, Stadia has come to an end. If you aren't familiar with it, it was a cloud streaming gaming service. So if you were somebody who, didn't have your Xbox with you, or you didn't have your PlayStation, you were traveling, you could play games just right via the cloud. Let's say you had a computer, but not one that could game. Like you had a laptop that was just some junky, 4th gen, like DDR3 laptop, like a $300 little machine that you got like hand me down. You could do some streaming on it. You actually had some quality games you could play on it. It was 1080p free streaming. You had to pay, unfortunately, if you wanted the 4K to stream, in better quality. But 1080p for free. In certain games, you could just actually play for free. So if you wanted to play Destiny 2, you could just play it, kind of stuff there, which is awesome. I think most people could agree that was pretty cool. The latency was pretty good. I would say most people kind of came to the consensus that Stadia was better than some of the others. If you had the GeForce Now, there's some latency on there. You can kind of feel it. Xbox Game Pass, that cloud gaming, no, that's just that's just dead. That latency is just awful. I tried it before. Hard lined in Ethernet into the device. Just, it is not good. I didn't really get to try Luna in that case there. Luna's the Amazon one. I didn't really get to give it much of a chance because you have to, if you're paying for Prime, it doesn't give you it. If you're paying for the Amazon Prime, you get Twitch Prime for free. And then Twitch Prime will give you a couple free games you could play. It's like 5 free games that you get to play cloud streaming, but it's, if you want to play any of the other ones, you actually have to pay for a different service. So it's on top. It didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense of that one there. That was also a weird one to me. Some of these business models don't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, so it's dead. It's just over with, and they're just killing it all. One of the more weirder things about it was the fact that the devs, they did not know this was coming. They had just no warning, no little like maybe you shouldn't be doing this, nothing at all to come to the consensus that, hey, maybe we should pull back on it there. There was actually even a couple of devs who submitted game approvals days, like a day or two before the September 29th press announcement of Stadia going under. Like that's not cool. Like we all have seen these E3 in these Gamescom conventions. These games are in development for years, man. You don't, like, that's a porting job that somebody was doing for, a year maybe, and just, if it was just a port, you you can't just do that to people. Don't just drop it on them like a there was a internal email, which I'm gonna not show all of it. Probably not gonna show all of it there because probably someone's gonna need to be redacted because it was an internal email to actual Google employees, and one of those Google employees' email is in it, so I don't want to show that there for it. But the same day they got this email, they were told to attend a meeting, and it's very important. And they were also told that if you couldn't make the meeting, make sure you get with your manager after the meeting. It's like, okay, what the hell? And this was the meeting regarding Stadia going under, that they're killing Stadia. Oh, that's not how you do it, man. The positive is, if you were somebody who happened to have invested any type of time there, which I'll admit, anybody investing into some Google products, it's pretty low, it's pretty small, because you don't know if it's gonna last or not. Half the stuff you do invest in, like I liked Google Play Music and they got rid of that there. I mean, you don't know if it's gonna last, so it's kind of hard to really invest in it. I did have a couple games, I'll maybe show it. I have a couple games on Stadia. I only got them because they were cheap. I literally did get Destiny 2. I got Cyberpunk 2 because Cyberpunk 2 came with a controller for free, kind of stuff there. So like, hey, I feel like a sucker now, but it was one of those things like, hey, I'll support the game. I'll buy it on 2 platforms, on Steam and in Stadia, because I mean, Stadia's giving me a discount and they're giving me a free controller. Why not? I'm a YouTube Prime member, and this is the deal I get with it. Like, cool. It's kind of strange in the regards of they're just going to be giving everybody refunds. So if you were somebody who didn't like buy a couple of the games there or buy some of the hardware, you're just going to get it all back. They're just giving straight refunds, which makes me even wonder, like, there must not have been a lot of people who bought into it, because that feels like that's a lot of money you could be giving back. But if there's no one in it, I mean, I guess there's not a whole lot to give back. I think we all knew it was kind of coming, but I guess we didn't think it was gonna go under so fast. This was literally one of those cases. They were 2 months ago having emails saying that, no, we're doing fine, in responses to like rumors about Stadia going under, and them coming back saying like, no, we're not going under. That's crazy. You are a liar. And then 2 months later, like, psych, no, we're out of here. Like, whoa, strange. I don't know what more we can really say about this besides, this is kind of one of the reasons why I don't trust them. Why I'm afraid about YouTube. Every time YouTube does something else strange, I don't know if I really want to be a part of it, but we saw what Amazon was just doing. It's crazy. And a little bit of, I don't know if we should call this weird news or just funny news or just, I can't believe this guy was a great negotiator news. The procurement chief, I guess he's the VP of procurement at Apple, has been laid off. They just cut him, they gutted him, they got rid of him 100% because of what seems to be funny. I do think that they're funny comments. And it's not like he was addressed by name. It's not like he said anything like that there. He seems to be pretty likable. I mean, like, he seems to be pretty funny. I'll say that there. He seems to be pretty likable, because you kind of have to be that if you're going to be this communicator. I mean, obviously you see, I can't communicate for shit. So this guy seems to have a one-up on me, maybe a couple ups on me. But he seems to be able to, like kind of convey a little personality. He seems to have a kind of a aura about him. But he just laid all his cards out on the table when he's talking to this TikToker about his car and about what he does for a living. Let's just put this up here. Let's just put it up.
I race cars, play golf, and fondle big-breasted women. But I take weekends and major holidays off.
Okay. That is quite the career. I'm looking to get into that.
Well, also, if you're interested, I got a hell of a dental plan.
Okay. You do it all. You do it all. Yeah. And you participate in this activity. Thank you so much.
So, I can understand Apple's predicament here, being he said all this shit. But he didn't say it on his own video. Like, this was some other TikToker's video. This wasn't him saying it, and he was addressing it specifically to this guy. Like, it's I don't know. I find it pretty funny, so I'm not like overtly offended. The girls seem to be pretty into it too, so it's like almost like weirdly infectious. Like everyone was just totally into it. So yeah, it's hard for me to really be offended there. The guy's just giving you his life. He was just giving you his life wholeheartedly. It felt like it, honestly. Honestly, yeah. So, nonetheless, he's out. They've replaced him. They kicked him. They kicked him to the curb. He's gonna have to maybe find someplace new to play golf. In movie news, I guess I'm not thrilled about it. It just went right over my head there for it because I don't really care that much. But Hocus Pocus 2, if you're a fan of the Hocus Pocus stuff, you finally got a sequel, I guess, 30 years later from my understanding. But if you wanted it, it's there on Disney Plus. So if you got $5, I mean, I would say that's a better deal than going to theaters to see it. But I guess it didn't do so well. Looking at the kind of ratings, at least on like Rotten Tomatoes, that kind of stuff there, it doesn't seem to be very audience-like. Doesn't seem to be very critic-like either. So that's not. I can't say I'm surprised. If you asked me, looking at the trailer and everything there, it just looked like a cash grab. And that's all it really looked like. And that seems to be what most people are talking about. It's just like, we waited 30 years for this. It's like if you want to give us something and it's been this much of a wait, we kind of want you to really like swing for the fences, like go hard with this. Don't give us something half-baked. Like that's like, why would we, like, everyone's, if you're a fan of it, your expectations and your hype is at an all-time high because you're wanting this. It's been 30 years. I want this. If the new Constantine ends up being a half-baked thing like Hocus Pocus 2, I'd be pissed. I would be. I'd be upset. If Constantine 2 came out with all the same cast, Keanu Reeves and the original director, and it was like Hocus Pocus 2, where it's just half-baked and it just feels like a cash grab, yeah, I'd be kind of annoyed. Like, why even bring it back? Why? We waited all this time here. You finally gave us a sequel, and it's this little cheap, cobbled together mess. I'd be annoyed. What's the point? You could have just kept this buried. Why even throw any money into something and you're not even giving it the light of day? You're not even giving it enough effort, enough time. Like, come on, man. That's honestly one of my fears about Clerks 3. Like, it came out last month. I didn't really want to see it because it doesn't seem necessary. It doesn't seem necessary to do a third one. The only positive I can say is at least Clerks 3 seems to have seems to have a bit better user rating in its regard compared to Hocus Pocus 2, but they're both still not exactly loved by critics. I guess to go ahead and end this off here, the AMD 7000 CPUs have been kind of making some of the rounds there for it. I'm totally cool with cool with like the specs and everything there for it. The temperatures, it all looks great. There are some complaints about the temperatures maybe getting a bit too high for some people's liking for some of the throughput that they're doing, but these are also, you know, lower wattage CPUs compared to the Intel stuff, which can get 200 watts pulling from it. A AMD CPU being, you know, a 75 watt of pulling power, and then it going up to, you know, 150 Celsius doesn't feel as bad to me as if I saw 100 degrees Celsius on a 200 watt Intel CPU. I might be a little more freaking out if I saw those kind of two numbers there for it. But I mean, all the kind of talk around it seems to be pretty interesting. I mean, all this good news aside, I'm afraid we have to do a little bit of bad news here, which is that this video's ending. that wasn't great. Whatever. I'm rolling with that one. Yeah, this video's ending. I've got to go. I got to edit this all together here, which is going to take me a couple hours, unfortunately. Therefore, I'm still not great at this. Gonna go ahead and get out of here. Ah!